Hi. Just waiting for our guest to join us. Let's see. This is my first time doing this, so I'm not sure. I hope this works. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'm just waiting for my guest to join us. Glad to hear it, Caitlin. Hi, Kaz. Thanks for joining. Let's see, there's our guest, Dr. Laura. Let's see if this works. Please be patient with me.
Hi!
Yay, we connected!
It's so good to see you!
Good to see you too. All right, good. This is working out well. Okay.
Yeah, it is working out well. I know I'm just getting used to this format, so let me just turn up my volume a little bit.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Should we get started? Are you
Yeah?
ready?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, so for those that are just joining us, thank you for joining, everyone. This is Madison and Green's first interview IGTV thing, so please bear with me if this is awkward or weird. For those that don't know about me, my name is Jasmine Buse. I am a clinical aromatherapist and a co-founder of Madison Green. And today we have a guest here, Dr. Laura Berssenbrugge. Did I say that right?
Yep, you did.
I've known you for so long. She's one of my best friends, and I still don't know how to pronounce her name sometimes.
It's such a long last name. It's 13 letters long, lots of consonants. So
it's cool.
It's okay.
So Dr. Laura Berssenbrugge, she's a New York City-based clinical psychologist who specializes in treating anxiety, OCD, depression, and adjustment and relationship issues using cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavior therapy. She has helped countless young adults, teens, and children learn skills to create positive and sustainable life changes. Awesome doctor that I'm so proud to call my friend. So, did I miss anything out? Would you like to add anything to that introduction? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Awesome.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thanks for
as
me.
husband mentioned, we have been friends for over 10 years now, and it's been just such a phenomenal process to see Jasmine. I don't know, I guess we met when we were in college, and now, we've been able to kind of track each other's career developments and to see where we've kind of landed. So this is something we've been both very much looking forward to.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you so much. And I know it's like so early. I said you're New York City based, but you're currently in Hawaii. So it's a 6-hour time difference. It's super early for you. So I'm sorry you had to do this so early on a Sunday morning.
No,
I really appreciate it.
It's a great way to wake up.
Good. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Like I said in the introduction, your patients are young teens, children, young adults and teens and children. So have you noticed since March, when the pandemic started, have you noticed an increase in anxiety, since March, would you say, among your patients?
Yeah, definitely. I think an increase in anxiety, as well as just an increase in kind of getting used to chronic stress. And so I specialize in working with people who have, kind of pre-existing issues with anxiety. So people that have generalized anxiety, social anxiety, specific phobias, as well as people who might have issues with what we call mood disorders, so depression, difficulty, adjusting to life changes. And so especially since I'm based in New York City, March was really unexpected for a lot of people, the way that things kind of went. And in the tri-state area, we kind of saw very quickly that things escalated, and there wasn't very much time to kind of do, prep work. And usually in sessions, if we know that something, very stressful is coming up, we might do some like kind of problem solving ahead of time. So we might think, okay, can you anticipate how you might be feeling? Is this going to be really stressful for you? And we kind of put a plan in place, so then that way you can, kind of manage your symptoms, when you're actually in that. And in March, we really didn't have time to do that. It really was, there was one day that it seemed like everything was fine, and it almost felt like the next day, the world had kind of turned upside down. And so I think, what I've seen in my clients is that, there's this, quick adjustment to kind of the new normal, for a lot of people. And, just in general, a lot of people in the country right now, kind of our illusion of safety has kind of been threatened, by COVID-19. And in the sense that, a lot of people kind of go through the world feeling like the world is mostly a safe place. And with COVID-19 coming into our communities, that really kind of was threatened. And Jasmine and I both were in the New York City area in March and April, and I can say that I kind of felt like that too. And so in our sessions, we've been doing a lot of work around, what can you do when your sense of safety is threatened? And, one other thing that I've been noticing is kind of, it's also the threat of kind of like losing control, that a lot of things right now are kind of outside of our control. Our lives have, even in New York, it was New York on pause. A lot of things that we love to do, in the city, such as being able to go out to eat to restaurants, going to the movies, all of those things are kind of on hold. And, and even kind of bigger things like life goals might be on hold too. So we've been doing a lot of work around, what can you do when, again, our sense of safety is threatened, as well as, the control that we kind of felt like we had. And it's really uncomfortable. And I think, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. And what we know is uncertainty just breeds anxiety. And so we're doing a lot of kind of management on the micro level that I'll talk about, and strategies that you can do there.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, you're saying micro level, like macro level, right? We can't really control what's happening out there. The fact that, all these stores are closed, and the fact that there's this terrible virus going around that's completely out of our control. And in a way, you can kind of live with that, the fact that, okay, that's out of control, and, be peace with it. But on a micro level, on daily basis, your well, I think a lot of people's living situations have changed because of COVID. And like you said, that micro level of control is starting to, you're starting to lose control, right? Basically of your personal life. And I think it's really important to help manage that. And yeah, and that's really interesting about the macro versus micro. Do you think that you can control the micro level of your life better with routines? Like, can you share maybe a little bit about the importance of having routines in your life?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think routines and consistency in general are really helpful when things, on the macro level feel like they're kind of outside of our control.
Mm-hmm.
A framework that I've been using a lot in sessions, is And this is actually a concept from dialectical behavior therapy, which is what I specialize in. But it's a concept that acceptance and change are kind of on a continuum. So instead of being two different things, they're almost like on a scale. And sometimes we will kind of lean too heavily into acceptance. That might be when we kind of get sluggish and we, have a hard time motivating us to switch up our routines. And, because of that, we have a hard time pushing for change. And on the other hand, sometimes, we know that something's wrong and we want to push for change really hard, but we don't really accept what's going on. We're just, kind of putting our foot to the ground and saying, okay, all systems go, I'm going to try to change this. So we work a lot on, kind of balancing out that equation. How can you balance both acceptance and change? And, something I've been telling my clients is, again, on the macro level, that's where we want to do more acceptance work. So like we've been talking about, there's a lot that's kind of outside of our control right now. And if we're kind of pushing against the stream, it's really not going to get us anywhere. It might make us feel angry, might make us feel upset. So we really want to kind of let go as much as we can, acknowledge. A really critical step is acknowledging how you're feeling, validating yourself for how you're feeling. I'm feeling upset because a lot of my timeline that I had for 2020 was completely disrupted. It's absolutely okay to feel upset. Acknowledging it, and as much as you can, kind of letting that go, because, what purpose really is, kind of fighting against the stream really gonna serve? And so on the macro level, kind of having more of an acceptance mindset, but on the micro level, where routines come in, trying to focus more of our energy on that. And that's really where we can start implementing changes. And so I think for routines, it can be really, really helpful when on the macro level, it's outside of our control. It's almost like we're creating like a mini dominion in our lives where it's going to, where we do have some control, we can make changes. And so what we know is that for, when the world itself feels really dysregulated, it can be really comforting, it's almost like we're creating safety on our micro level by creating routines and kind of sticking with them. And I think, routines create consistency in our lives, and that in itself is kind of a protective factor. And something that I've been working a lot with clients on right now is that it's been 4 months of us, being in various states of quarantine. Things are beginning to reopen in different places in the country, but our lives still really haven't returned to normal. And I've been seeing that kind of the initial routines and coping skills that people were using, going for walks, spending time with family, watching more TV, all those things are beginning to get boring, which makes so much sense because it's been 4 months of nonstop doing that thing. And so I've been working a lot with clients on, okay, now is the time to, as much as you can, to get creative, to kind of go back to the drawing board and reassess what will bring purpose, what will bring some fulfillment in my life. And that could be, even going on Instagram and trying to find new projects. If there's something that you've been kind of putting off for a while, now is the time where you can do that. I think the one resource that we've really gained during this time is time. We have a lot of free time that would typically be taken up by other, by life as normal. And so, a question is, how can you build in something that you might be looking forward to? And that's really important right now. It could be something, on a daily basis. If you have, say a wind down routine before you go to sleep, building in something that you really like that could be part of that routine. Or it could be something that you're looking forward to in a few months. When things reopen, what do you want to be doing in 2021? If, like, where's your dream destination that you would want to go to when travel becomes an option again? Just having something to look forward to really helps to kind of break up the days and kind of bring back some of the joy and the excitement that we might be things might be going down a little bit right now.
For sure. Yeah, no, having something to look forward to is really important right now. Every day we're reading the news, and, in some states it's just getting worse and worse, and they're experiencing what we were experiencing back in March and April. And um, for those that you just mentioned that are kind of getting tired of did I lose you, Laura?
No. Oh.
Oh, you're still there? Okay, sorry. I guess it just froze. You can still hear me? Hello? Laura?
I think
Okay, you're back. Sorry, that was me. Was that me or you? Sorry, it was frozen and I couldn't see you at all. Ah, can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know if this is me or hers. I'm sorry for this issue. Okay, you're back. Are you back now? Laura? I can't hear you. Is it just me? I'm sorry. It's technical difficulty. Okay, well, Laura gets settled. Okay, I just. Oh. Okay, yeah. Let's wait for Laura to be able to get back on. No rush. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Oh no! All right, so it's just me now for a little while. Um, so we were talking about routines. Oh, wait. Let me accept Laura back in. Hopefully this works.
Sorry.
Hey. Oh no, no problem. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're back.
Technology problems.
Okay. Yeah, life of COVID.
I know.
So we were talking about routines and how, some people are experiencing what we were experiencing 3, 4 months ago. Which kind of routines do you recommend for those? Oh, I guess you mentioned taking a walk outside, spend family time, for those that are experiencing it now. Which kind of, oh, and then you mentioned that, having creative projects is, and becoming looking forward to the future and using the time productively is something you can do for those right now. Um, okay, so my question is, what are some of the tips that you can share with us to manage anxiety at home for um, those that are still stuck at home like us, basically? Because, it's nice to be able to, look forward to the future and, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And, spending your time on creative projects is great, which is basically what I'm doing every day this past few months. But you can't help get rid of this anxious problem. Oh, did I lose it again? Uh-oh, I think oh, Laura's back. Are you back?
Okay,
Can you
I'm
hear
here.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it keeps. Okay, you can hear me. Laura?
Hear me?
Can
My
you hear
screen
me?
is frozen.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, your screen is frozen, but I can hear you. Okay.
I I can hear you
I can.
too. Okay, so sorry. I think my internet's not that great. Yeah,
Okay.
oh, you
I
can't
think
hear
there's
me?
a
Can you
time lag, so like
hear
our
me now?
conversation is a. I can hear you right now.
Okay.
Okay, I keep losing you. Aww. So,
I can hear you too. Are you there? Oh no.
somebody
Ah,
said maybe have her turn off all other devices in her home. Well, that's, I don't know if that's something you can do, but
that's that's a good idea. Can you hear me now?
for
Are
one
you
second
there?
I heard you.
Oops. Okay. Use cell service and not Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
That's a really good
that might be
idea.
helpful. For anyone who just joined us, I am interviewing Dr. Laura Berssenbrugge. She's a clinical psychologist in New York City, and she works with teens and young adults and children on how to cope with anxiety and depression and OCD and whatnot. She's awesome, but we're having technical difficulty. All right, so it's a one-man show now. Um, how can I entertain you guys while we wait for her to come back? Okay, here's another request from her. Let's bring her back in here.
Hi.
Hi! Yay!
I'm
Okay.
so sorry about that.
No,
Okay, I'm
no.
off of my Wi-Fi, so let's see if this works better.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we were talking about how can you help relieve anxiety at home.
Yes, yeah. So I think it was Kaz who might have said, even things like art and music can be really, really helpful. I think, first and foremost, prioritizing taking care of yourself. What does
Mm-hmm.
self-care really mean? And I
Mm-hmm.
think, beneath the bells and whistles of what self-care has kind of become is really just the concept of meeting yourself where you're at. And sometimes that can even mean, just checking in with yourself and saying, hey, how am I feeling in the moment? I think too often sometimes we forget to do that initial step of just checking in. And so we might say, like, okay, well, I have this really big agenda for today. Why am I not meeting it? And when that happens, oftentimes it's because we didn't do the initial check-in. How am I feeling? Am I feeling, like it's going to be, we're going to have ups and downs basically, and that's absolutely okay. So I would recommend to people, first and foremost, like really checking in with yourself. Kind of, I call it doing a mindfulness check-in. I do this with my
Mm-hmm.
clients, where, periodically throughout the day, I'll, recommend to them that they just check in with themselves. So how am I feeling? What am I thinking? Kind of based on that, what do I want to be doing? And really just being honest about how you're feeling, and that'll kind of shape what you can be doing. And so I think for days that we're feeling more anxiety, the skills that we're going to use might be a little different than if we're feeling less anxiety. So when we're
Mm-hmm.
feeling less anxiety, we might be able to get to everything on our to-do list, but on days that we're feeling more anxious, it's really the time to kind of take a step back, press the pause and say, okay, I really need to just take care of myself right now. And I'm a huge proponent of acceptance. And, there's so much kind of like judgment happening just in the world right now. The last person that we really want to be judging is ourselves for how we're feeling. So, always try to say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit more anxious today. Like, that's okay. I'm a person that's living through an unprecedented time, and I'm going to have some ups and downs. Um, it's okay to feel a little bit more anxious. And, something that I'll tell my clients is that, the world right now is operating below 50%. So why do we still expect ourselves to be going at 110%? It's really the time to kind of shift our expectations of ourselves, um, and to kind of meet ourselves where we're at. And so, when we're having days that we're feeling more anxious, the skills that we do are much more about kind of taking care of our bodies and taking care of our minds. And so, again, Jasmine mentioned that I specialize in dialectical behavior therapy, it's very much focused on bringing in mindfulness skills and bringing in kind of emotion regulation skills for helping to to soothe ourselves when we're feeling distressed. And it could be, I'll be kind of showing some different skills that you can be trying. But it could be, even as basic as just turning off your cell phone and saying like, hey, like I'm reading the news too much, it's making me really upset, or I'm on Instagram way too much, it's not serving me a purpose anymore. And just putting a limit on yourself, that's absolutely okay. Something that I've noticed is that there was this flurry of, in March and April, of everyone doing group Zoom calls, with their friends and FaceTime calls. And that's kind of, it's almost seeming like that's phasing out a little bit. So I would say, it also could be the time to maybe reconnect with people if it feels like you're kind of losing touch with people a little bit. And kind of recognizing, how am I feeling, and is this the time that I might need to reach out for support? I see Kaz is saying, yes, breathing techniques are definitely a big part of that.
Do you want to dive into that breathing technique?
Yeah, I can.
Be...
Sure, absolutely. And maybe I can give a little bit more background on, the framework that we use. So in dialectical behavior therapy, a good way to kind of measure your emotions and how much intensity you're feeling, is to think about, we call it a feelings thermometer. So it's a really basic scale from 1 to 10, and it measures the intensity of the feeling that you're having. So a 1 might be, you're chilling on a beach, you have no work, you're with your best friends, there's no pandemic, you're very, very calm. A 10 might be, kind of the worst stress that you've ever felt. You're kind of in that crisis point, when, the emotion is really taking over you, and it almost feels as if you can't really engage cognitively, or it's almost like you're just so overwhelmed by the emotion that all the other systems in your body shuts down. And we actually know that that's true. When we're in that crisis point, our body is so much in that kind of like fight or flight or freeze space that, it's not the time to say like, okay, to be challenging negative thoughts or anything like that. We really want to, try to de-escalate our bodies. And so the techniques that we use, when we're at an 8, a 9, or a 10, are really quick acting and rapid. So that way you can kind of bring yourself down just a little bit. So then that way you're thinking a little bit, you're thinking a little bit normally, and you can kind of go into other skills. So one skill that I teach, breathing is such a wonderful skill. And, it's something that I think across, across different types of treatment, it's in yoga, it's in meditation, it's in therapy, why it works is because it's so simple. It's, it doesn't involve thinking. It doesn't involve, all these other things that we've kind of added on top. We always have our breath. And that's why, you really don't need anything else. And one way that it works is that when we're feeling anxious or stressed, our heart rate typically goes up. And so, Jasmine, I love your posts because you've been really focusing on the science behind how this works. And it's so true, when we're really stressed out, all of our systems are kind of overfiring, and our heart rate tends to really go up when we're feeling that stressed. So by taking some deep breaths, that helps to actually oxygenate the blood and to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is kind of, I know, which we geek out on.
I love this conversation.
I know, we're like, ooh, ooh, science. And what that does, it's a system in the body that, is in charge of kind of calming down the body. So when we're in fight or flight and we're stressed out, the sympathetic nervous system kind of takes over. And that's the system that's activating the body. It's getting ready, to flee or to fight the threat. So deep breathing actually activates the complementary, helps to bring down and instill a sense of calm in the body. I recommend deep breathing to my clients when they're in that crisis point, as kind of like a starting skill, and then you can add on other skills when you're feeling a little bit calmer. And so one of the exercises that I wanted, basic breathing skills or breathing techniques that we have, which is really just doing like and what I love about this is you can do it, you know, in the middle of your workday. It's only really a minute. The longer that you have, that's great. The longer that you take deep breaths, the more that you'll find that it's working. But if you only have a minute is fine. And so what we do, sometimes I'll start actually with a few seated cat-cows. So I'm also a yoga teacher, so I love that in. But what you do is, you know, if you imagine doing a cat cow, you just put your hands on your knees. You know, you stretch out your chest like this, and you breathe in for 4 seconds, and then you kind of go into the cat position like this for 4 seconds, and then you do that just for a few times. And what I like about that is that, you know, if you're a person that feels tense when they're stressed, I tend to carry my stress kind of in my trunk area. So I find this actually, the movement itself kind of helps to relax me. So I'll often kind of start by doing a few of those. And then for the breathing exercise, you just take both of your hands and you press one on your, over your heart, one over your stomach. And you really just focus on your breath. You know, you can be in a seated position. If it's more comfortable to be lying down, you can be lying down. I'll often close my eyes because I find that it helps me to focus on my breath. And what you do is you just breathe in for, breathe out for 4 seconds. Right, it's really simple. And while you're doing this, you just want to be focusing on your breath. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can tell yourself breathing in and breathing out. Or some people like to have, you know, maybe a positive statement or an affirmation that they might tell themselves. Really, it's just trying to on your attention on your. And one thing is that while you do these deep breaths, you'll still probably have thoughts, and that's okay. This is really helping to during. You just want to tell yourself, you just breathe in for 4 seconds and then out for 4 seconds.
Yeah. Feels good already. I mean, I was getting all hyped up with this interview, and now I'm super chill. Yeah. No, it's incredible. Like, oh, I'm sorry. There's a time lag. I feel like I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry if I do. No, but like, you know, you were talking about the sympathetic and parasympathetic system, and the importance I really find is that you break that negative feedback loop, right? So when you get anxious, sometimes you don't even know that, like, there's a trigger that you're not even aware of, and then you're already feeling anxious, right? Your amygdala, your fight or flight or freeze response happens, and that emotion turns on the physical symptoms, and your physical symptoms then again affect your amygdala. Now it's telling you to become anxious. So it's like you get anxious, you feel anxious, then the feeling of anxiety is causing more anxiety, and it's just like a never-ending loop. And I feel like the breathing exercise can really break that, because otherwise you can't tell yourself to just calm down, right? Like, life would be a lot easier if you could just say that and it worked. But once you do the breathing exercise, you're physically changing the body, right? Your organs, your heart rate goes down, your muscles start to relax, and that physical difference, right, in return, telling your brain to calm down. And so then that's why it works so well, right? When you can't just logically say, I need to relax. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that it's a physical change that you can provide yourself, and not just a mental change to break that loop.
Absolutely.
Um, you were mentioning, so that's an
Mm-hmm.
exercise
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
oh,
I
I'm
really
sorry.
agree with that.
Okay.
Oh no,
Oh
no,
no,
I'm
you're
here.
starting to spin again. Oh no. So that was an awesome exercise that anyone could do. But during our meeting a couple of days ago, you shared the one that children can do called this, what is it called? The square breathing. And I actually looked it up on YouTube because I was curious what it's like. And it's like the cutest thing that even I feel like adults could use. Um, can you hear me?
Square thing.
So
Absolutely.
just explain what, oh,
I'm back. Yes.
I'd never heard of that box
Oh,
breathing
hello?
technique before, and I found it super easy to follow. Oh,
I'm here. I can hear you.
okay, okay. Yeah, because like sometimes it's hard for those that haven't been practicing meditation or breathing. It's hard to kind of, you know, take control of like your mind to be able to do that, to actually put you in the zone. So I feel like a YouTube video like that is
Yeah.
actually really great as a guidance. And it's so simple. So for anyone who are like newbies at breathing techniques, I would highly recommend watching this video. Even though it's meant for children, like I thought it was so great. So it's like a little box, and then you like hold for 4 seconds. It's the exact same breathing technique that we just learned. It's hold it for 4 seconds, breathing for 4 seconds, and then hold it for 4 seconds, and then breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold it for 4 seconds again. So,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
thought that was.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And what I love about that breathing technique is that it's actually a very deep breathing technique. So,
Mm.
you're breathing in, you're for 4 seconds, you're holding for 4 seconds, you're breathing out for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. It actually leads to a buildup of CO2 in the body, and that actually stimulates. It's called the vagus nerve, and
Yes,
vagus
vagus
nerve
nerve. Yeah.
actually helps to produce a sense of calm in the body. So I really like that breathing exercise because it's very quick acting. It's very it does produce a lot of calm in the body. And yeah, maybe we can share that YouTube video. It's a really great one. I love that it is very cute. There's a fish that goes around the box, so the kids really like that. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Uh-oh.
I can still hear you. You are frozen. Oh no! There you are. I
Something
can't hear
else
you though.
you
Okay,
can,
there you are.
so if you're teaching, it's never too early to teach kids
Mm.
exercises. And um, and one way that I might teach kids is to imagine that there's a balloon in your stomach, and when you breathe in, you want the balloon to inflate and get bigger, and when you breathe out, you want it to deflate and get smaller. So
Mm.
having a visual for kids is really helpful. Um, and one thing that if you do have kids, this is the time you can even frame it to them as this is something that we're learning as a family. And kids really love being able to teach things. So they could even, watch the video and then teach it to their parents or their caregivers as something, and we often use a lot of like positive reinforcement, and praise for kids while you're doing such a great job of learning a new skill. I would love for you to share it with me. And kids really respond well to that and like
Mm.
love to be able to teach something like that they've just acquired. So I'll often frame it that way for kids.
Very cool. That's really interesting. The whole box breathing thing was such a new concept to me. And somebody mentioned that the Navy SEALs use it too. I mean, it is
Yeah.
so effective. It's so simple, and it's just something that everybody can do at any time of the day. And, I hope that more people learn of this method, through these kind of interviews and, whatnots. So I know that there's another method that you wanted to share in terms of coping with anxiety. Just a cool, what is it called? The self-soothing for five senses kit. Did I say
Yes,
that right?
yeah.
Which sounds so cool. I want you to
Yeah,
please share
self-soothing.
that with us. Oh,
Hmm.
hold on. We
And
can't
I
hear you.
actually thought of a second thing to share. So I'll share two skills.
Okay, awesome.
Oh
More
no.
skills, the better.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it keeps
Okay.
cutting in and out.
Yes. So maybe I'll teach before I get into. Oh, I'm so sorry. Can
No,
you hear me
it's
now?
fine. Yeah, I can hear you right now.
Hello?
Yep.
Mm-mm. Jasmine? Uh-oh. Okay, good. Um, so there's one skill. Well, I'll teach. Oh, can you hear me? Are you there?
Sort of. It keeps cutting in and
Okay.
out, but just give it a shot. Maybe we can pick up
I
pieces of it.
I'm gonna keep going. Can you hear me? Oh, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you in and out. And the video is delayed,
Okay.
basically.
Sure. So the first skill is called self-soothing um, with the five senses, and this is another skill from self-soothe kit is just compiling it's really compiling your favorite things all in one place that in some way activate the five senses. So again, when we're in that more activated crisis point, um, you know, the emotion has really taken over us. And so when we're in that point, we really want to be engaging the body instead of really engaging kind of like thinking and things like that. So what it is it's just things that you love that engage the five senses, and everyone's kit's going to look a little bit different. So when you're thinking about making your kit, think about what are your favorite things for smell, what's your favorite thing for touch, and a lot of people already have some things that they might use, but the goal is to have it all in one place. So when you need it and you're feeling really stressed, it's all there. Share a little bit of what's in my kit. And all right, so let me show you.
Oh, yay!
So for sense of
My
taste,
favorite.
I have a hot chocolate packet, or a favorite tea. I know. And so these go in there. So I know that if I'm feeling stressed, I can just make my cup of tea, and I know that it really helps to calm me.
What's the white thing
I
that you
have
were
some hard
holding?
candies, so I have a ginger candy. Oh,
What is that?
it's a hot chocolate packet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you say that, or I must have missed it somehow. I was like, what is that?
It's a hot chocolate packet.
Okay, cool. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. candy. You'll know this, Jasmine. It's
Yeah.
White Rabbit.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So that's all for the sense of taste. And
Mm-hmm.
another mindfulness practice you can try is that, when you're having a piece of candy, really just trying to focus on how it tastes. What's the
Mm.
texture like? Um, what does the taste what's the taste like? Is it salty, is it sweet? That also is very grounding and will help you kind of focus your attention, almost like how we were doing with our breathing exercises. It focuses your attention on that taste. So that's what I have in there. For the sense of sight, people often will have just pictures that really cheer you up. So I had a client who she keeps really cute pictures of puppies, which I thought was
Mm.
so great. Um, and I thought that was really, really cute. So any image that's going to, make you feel happy, you can put in there. So I have some, you know, just Polaroids that I took from that make me feel happy.
Mm.
So this is for sight. Um, you can have pictures of your family,
Oh, I
pictures
think
from.
I've lost you again. But I mean, I totally have pictures of puppies for sure. I mean, the puppy, Pogo the puppy, for sure. That would cheer me up. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Pogo is.
oh, sorry. Ah,
Oh
the
no, I
time
was gonna say
lag.
Pogo is the mascot of Madison and Green.
Yes, she is absolutely. I'm a crazy mom lady. But okay, so we covered taste, we covered sight. What's next?
So then I have smell. I actually have one of your inhalers that I really love. So my go-to, I really love this one. It's Your Time
I
to
love
Shine. It's
you.
great. So I keep that in there. And what I've been actually doing deep breathing with the inhaler.
Mm.
And I will just take maybe 5 deep breaths, you know, with the inhaler. And I really, really love it. And I find that the essential oils are also really pleasant and calm me. So that's been nice.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And so the next ones.
Okay, you're back. Oh no, I lost you again.
I
Come back.
I know. Oh, sorry. I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so we covered smell, sight, and taste. Okay, next.
Yeah. And next, so this is kind of for it's for smell as well as touch. So
Mm.
what this is, I just have my favorite face oil, and it's kind of nice just to have the smell as well as it's also kind of for touch too because you're putting on your body. I have a hand lotion in here that I really like. Also for touch, some people really like using like a warm comforting blanket. So something that's really soft is sometimes really comforting for people. I have some silk scarves that I dyed actually, and Jasmine, that I got really into natural dye
Yeah,
over
you made
quarantine.
amazing things.
So
Yeah,
I
they were
keep
so
a couple
pretty.
of them in my self-soothe kit, and I really just like the feel of the scarves, so I'll keep them in here. Um, and for the sense of sound,
Wait, before you go
usually
to
I
the
really like
sound,
nouns, and I really.
oh, do you mind
Yeah.
sharing the names of the products that
Mhm.
you have that you were showing us? Just out of curiosity, what was the face oil and the hand cream?
Yeah, yeah. It actually it is Sunday Riley. I really
Oh,
like this
wow.
one.
Good
And
eyes. Oh, Lost you. Are you back? Oh no. Wait, can you guys still hear me? Can you hear
Hi,
me?
I'm here.
Hi. Okay,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. I
So, sound.
Yes. And so for sound, I really like rain sounds. I like,
Mm,
this, if you have a noise machine, those
mm,
are really great. But really just any music that I find calming. So I love that Spotify now has different playlists
mm,
that have like calming music, music for different purposes. So sometimes even having something like that is great. And really, or it could even be, songs that make you feel happy. So songs, from childhood, songs that have a really good memory attached to them. The key here is to, when we're feeling really distressed, we want to almost, in DBT terms, we call it opposite action. So when
mm,
you have an urge, when you're feeling stressed out, you might want to kind of bury yourself in a hole, or people react to stress in different ways. We actually want to do the opposite of what that urge is telling us to do.
mm,
And so, listening to a really happy song, going for a run, might is a great opposite of the urge, what the urge is telling you. So happy songs are a great addition. So I just have, a
mm.
pair of
I
spare
really
headphones
love
that I
that
keep in
idea of
there.
having like a kit. It's basically like an emergency kit for you too, right? Whenever you feel stressed, you have something that you can reach without thinking about it, because at that point you're so emotional and you can't clearly think what you should be doing, right? You just want to kind of bury yourself in that emotion and feel the anxiety, and it's easier to just suffer than to like do something about it, right? So I think having a kit, like, you know, a designated place for everything that makes you feel better, I think that is such an awesome idea. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for sharing that with us.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I really agree. Just having it all there. And I think, there's also the added benefit of you have all of your favorite things all in one space. And there's something that's very comforting, joyful, just about
Mm.
having all of your favorite stuff in one small little
Yeah,
place. Um, so you can
yeah.
even use it, when you're not feeling overwhelmed, just if you're even feeling bored, it's a great time to be using
Mm.
your kit.
That's so true. Okay, cool. So, is there anything else you want to share? Did you say you have another skill you wanted to share with us? Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, there's one other that's a really
Let's wait. I heard a word grounding, so that's already exciting. You back?
yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Yes, I'm back. This is the five senses. Again, this is a great technique for when you're feeling, in that kind of crisis point, 8, 9, or 10, and the emotion is taking over us. So all it is doing a check-in with your five senses. So you start off by, you kind of take a step back and you look at what are five things in your environment that you can look at.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can look around your room. Okay, one thing that I see is, my silk scarves, and I focus on, okay, well, what does it look like? What are the colors? Then you can turn your attention to other things in the room. I see a cup over there, and I'm like, okay, there's coffee in the cup. I was drinking from it before. So you just turn your attention slowly
Mm-hmm.
to five different things that are in your environment. Um, the next step is to, uh, uh, you can do it a couple of ways. What are four things that you can, and this senses are actually interchangeable. So, if there's 4 things in your environment that you can touch and do touch, or you could do hearing, you can always switch up the senses. So what are 4 things in your environment? What are 3 things you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste? And each time you go through really want to just be focusing on that one sense, and thoughts just pass as they come through in and out, and just focusing your attention on one one sense to the next sense to the next sense.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's just being present and being mindful of your surroundings is, I was saying earlier that, physical change, like working with your physical changes first can be really effective too through breathing exercises, but also your mind can focus on something, and as long as you can control it, then that's also just so incredibly effective too. Suddenly you're just, all your worries, all your, thoughts kind of just evaporate and you don't even realize doing it, but then, yeah, it's just so effective, the mindful meditation.
Absolutely. Yep. That is so true.
Nice. Okay, cool. I guess that kind of wraps up the interview. I hope everyone who's been watching enjoyed this little thing that we did. Um, Dr. Laura is, oh, I think I lost her again. Can you hear me? Well, for anyone who wants to reach Dr. Laura Berssenbrugge, her contact information is on the post on the Instagram page. So check that out. And Laura, I don't know if you can hear me right now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
But okay, thank you so much for doing this. It was so incredibly interesting and helpful. I really loved it, and I'd love to do this again with you soon. Maybe you can share even more
Yes, I can.
skills with us. And thanks to everyone who joined us and watched this.
I
All right.
I would absolutely.
Oh,
Fun. Have a nice Sunday.
bye.
Bye.